How about I'll put my face in there? This is Chuck Cook going live today. This is our new studio. What do you think? I don't know how the audio sounds. Love to hear from you how the audio sounds. We're still working on it. They took me out of my office and put me in here. But I noticed though that they don't have any lights on in here. I wonder if I'm supposed to turn lights on. There's probably lights I have to put on in here at some point. Let's see. Is there a light in here? Let's see. Oh, yeah, there's a light. Oh, yeah, look at that. There's a light. So I'm lit up. And let's see, there's a light over here. Ah, another light. Ah, look at that. It's amazing. There's probably too light with my brain, my giant white head on there. But it's great to be with you today here on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and our YouTube channel. Today is really about something that's really important. It's in the news. It's the newest hysteria from the press, and what that really means. And of course, you know what I'm talking about when I talk about the newest hysteria from the press, because that is Title 42. Hoy día que tal todos están bien, voy a hacer los idiomas. I'm going to do it in English and Spanish today because it's just so important. Estamos hablando hoy día del fin del título 42 y qué quiere decir esto. Y lo haré en inglés y español. So send your questions and whoa, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this. So Title 42, first thing to understand, la primera cosa de entender del título 42, Title 42 is not an immigration law. It's not an immigration law. It's a health law. And it's been around for a very long time. And it's been used by a lot of different presidents to stop people from coming to the United States, but never on the scale that Trump and Biden have used it. Now, Biden has used it because the courts have forced him to use it. And we'll talk about that in a second. El título 42 es una ley de salud, no una ley de inmigración. And the thing about Title 42 is it suspends immigration law. Suspende la ley de inmigración, which means that at the border Patrol cannot use normal immigration law that they would normally use. So what does the end of Title 42 mean? It means we're going back to regular immigration law. Now, let's go back to 2020 when the Trump administration weaponized Title 42. Did they do that in good faith? No. No, because we didn't stop people from coming in with COVID. Most people that are coming in were vaccinated or vaccinated at the time. No, we already had COVID. We weren't stopping people from coming in with COVID. This was used as an excuse to stop people. It was the orgasmatron of Stephen Miller. We can stop people from coming in. Okay, so but what did that mean? Did we really stop people from coming in? No, we really didn't. Because all Title 42, since Title 42 suspends Title 8, the immigration law, when people were returned to Mexico, that was a nothing burger. That wasn't a deportation. It was nothing. It was nothing. So there's no consequence. There was no consequence to being returned to Mexico. Whereas if you're ordered deported under Title 8, you can't come back for 5 years. And if you come back again, then you can't come back for life. And if you come back a third time and you get caught, you go to prison maybe. Now, la cosa con título 42 es que cuando alguien está devuelto a México va al título 42, no hay consecuencia. Podría venir el próximo día, no hay consecuencia. El día después. Da una persona 72 veces hasta que entró al país. Pero cuando alguien bajo el título 8 está deportado, es una consecuencia de 5 años. Y si regrese antes de los 5 años, ya tiene provisión por vida. Y si regresa una tercera vez, después de una segunda deportación, tal vez le ponen en la cárcel. So think about this. If Title 42 basically allowed for unlimited entries, unlimited attempts, it's like you go to the arcade and the machine's broken and you can just keep playing the pinball because it's unlimited. That's what Title 42 was. It was unlimited. So Aaron Michelin from the American Immigration Council, he did a FOIA, and he discovered people that had come in and been caught and returned 72 times. It was just not one guy. It was lots of people. They just kept coming back until they weren't caught or until they were released inside the United States. So what if that was the case? Why did Republicans keep suing Biden to keep it in place if all it did was give people free chances to enter the country? Why'd they do that? Why did they do something that perceptually prolonged, as one reporter called it today, the avalanche at the border? Why did they do something that didn't reinstate actual immigration law and make CBP do expedited removals, make CBP issue notices to appear, make CBP do credible fear interviews? Why didn't they do that? Now, I'll give it the Biden administration wasn't prepared. I mean, honestly, just terrible leadership from Mayorkas all the way down to the bottom on this. But today, pero hoy día hay un plan. Today's a plan. And actually, this plan is, yeah, it's got a lot of detractors. Some of the things are terrible. But hey, at least the president's limited in what he can do. So when Title 42 ends, cuando Título 42 termina, el medianoche mañana, it ends on Thursday night at midnight, such that on Friday, Title 8's back in effect. What happens? Well, first, the new asylum rules, which were just published minutes ago, say that if you come to the border and you have not applied for asylum in Mexico, you're going back to Mexico. You're being deported back to Mexico. Expedited removal. Now, if you have applied or been denied or are in transit because of a forgiveness, you are a member of your party, then you will be placed in detention if you're single. Si usted entra al país después de medianoche el jueves sin haber pedido asilo a México, se van a deportar a su país o a México sin audiencia, sin derecho a asilo. Now, denying somebody the right to apply for asylum is probably illegal. That's probably illegal, and that will probably be stopped by the courts. But fine, it's an attempt. I get it. I get why they're doing it. I don't agree with it, but I get why they're doing it. Pero si usted viene a los países con un parole o ha pedido de Venezuela, Honduras, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba o Haití, y viene con permiso con alguien, ellos no te van a deportar, van a dar el derecho de pedir asilo. So those 4 countries are going to be gone if they didn't do this. Everybody else, they're going to be placed in ICE custody. Van a poner su puesto en custodia de ICE, en las galeras, in the ICE boxes. And they're going to have an interview by one of the 1,000 asylum officers, 500 of whom are being recalled from other jobs, to interview people at the border for credible fear. And they will be interviewed while they're in custody, detained, or moved around. And they're not only in Texas or New Mexico or Arizona or California, they're going to be moved to Georgia. Or to Pennsylvania or to Washington State and have their interviews there. But they're not going to be released unless they pass credible fear. And what's clear is the Biden administration is probably going to have a very high standard, probably higher than it should be, for credible fear. And so many people, I can't give you a percentage, but I would bet at least 50% or more will be denied credible fear. And if you deny credible fear, you get to have a hearing in front of an immigration judge. You don't have legal representation in any of this. So you, in your own language, have to do this with no preparation, having sitting in an ice box, eating crappy food for a few days after a terrible journey through wherever, and you're probably going to be denied. You're probably not going to have that option. And so what's going to happen as people start to get deported back to these countries, the word's going to get out. Hey, they're not letting you in anymore. People will be let in. Families van a be let in, but they're going to be en grilletes. Familias tal vez no van a encarcelar, pero van a poner grilletes y van a tener que reportar, semanalmente, have to report weekly, and they're going to have fast hearings, and within 6 to 12 months, they're going to be deporting hundreds of thousands of people. The word's going to get back quickly. Hey, it's not open anymore. It's not open anymore. And what's going to happen? The numbers are going to go down. Which makes you think, if the Republicans had let Title 42 end 2 years ago, when Biden wanted to end it, would we have this problem today? That's a good question. You have to ask, why did Republicans keep suing Biden to keep this active? I don't know. That's a really great question. Did they truly understand that they were actually probably prolonging the avalanche Some of them did, and that's why they did it. Because politically, immigration problems benefit Republicans. They're viewed as stronger on the border. Why? Trump had massive numbers of people in the country. He deported far fewer people than Obama. And he was wildly ineffective in everything except destroying the legal immigration system. Now, the other thing that the Biden administration is doing, so they are, la administración de Biden está poniendo barreras de aplicar por asilo por los que debían haber aplicado el propio país de Venezuela, Cuba, Haiti, y Nicaragua. They are adding 1,000 enforcement officers, 1,000 asylum officers, and many ICE officers to the border. Están mandando más oficiales de ICE y oficiales de la Oficina de Asilo en la frontera. They are adding up to 1,000 appointments a day for asylum for CBP1. Por la app CBP1, están añadiendo más de 1,000 citas al día, a lo mínimo. And the other thing that they're doing that perhaps is the most foresightful thing is they're opening processing centers for humanitarian entry into the United States in Guatemala and Colombia. Están abriendo sitios en Colombia y Guatemala para hacer una aplicación de entrada con parol por otros países. So they're doing this to catch people before they come up here. Now, it ignores the fact that people just fly to Mexico and then they come across the border. But this will stop people from coming through the Darien Gap, cross people from coming through terrible situations in Central America and entering Mexico. And it is going to be a very interesting result. Va a ser muy interesante. Y por los próximos 30 días va a ser mucha gente en la frontera. Pero dentro de 60 días los números van a bajar. So those first 30 days, the press will be there every day. Tell me your story, sir. Why did you come to America? Oh, por un mejor país. Well, if you come to America because you want a better life, you're not winning asylum. Because asylum is not about getting a better life. Asylum is about you have a reasonable fear of persecution, which means physical, emotional, kind of harm that severely negatively impacts your life or threatens your life, but only based on race, religion, nationality, political opinion, and being a member of a social group. For example, being gay is a great example of that. Or being a battered spouse is an example of that. Being the victim of crime, having more crime in your neighborhood, being assaulted by just a criminal, that's not asylum. That's why more than 60% of asylum cases are still denied today, even under Biden, because that's the standard. Asylum is not for people with a better life. Asylum is to save your life, or that your life would be so detrimentally impacted that you deserve our protection. That's what asylum is. But people are being fed a load of bull on social media. Hay gente mintiendo a las poblaciones de Colombia, al Perú, en Venezuela. Oh, ven a los estados, está abierto. Esa es una mentira. It is a lie. The country is not open. Es una mentira. Si usted ha sido perseguido en su país y ha sido arrestado, golpeado por la policía o por grupos del gobierno por el control, pero no por asuntos criminales, pero por una de esas 5 cosas: su raza, su religión, su nacionalidad, su opinión política, ser miembro de un grupo como ser gay. Eso es asilo. Por ser víctima de Mara, un bandía, eso no es un base de asilo. Por no tener oportunidades en su país, eso no es un base de asilo. Van a ser negados. Y vamos a ver mucha gente deportado de inmediato por la administración de Biden. We're going to see a lot of people deported almost immediately by the Biden administration. Well, that's my dialogue, my first 15 minutes of dialogue today. I've got my screen, it's not in front of me anymore, so I have to turn my head a little bit. Is this a live video? Yes, it's a live video. It just took me a while to get my picture on there. Zolita, buenas tardes. Y por supuesto, contesto cualquier pregunta que usted tiene de inmigración. I will answer any questions you have on immigration, but lo importante es orilla por la locura de la prensa, because of the craziness of the press. And I've done at least 5 interviews so far, including at my house last night. We must come talk to you. It's vitally important. Actually, it's about time they dealt with this issue. It's about time Biden dealt with it. But it's also about time that Congress did something affirmative, because The only way to solve the legal immigration crisis, the only way, the illegal immigration crisis at the border, the avalanche, the crisis, la única manera de arreglarlo is to increase legal immigration. That's it. You want to stop people from coming for a better life, give them a chance for a better life. They'll stop coming illegally and they'll go the legal way. But right now, we don't have that. We don't have that. We have employers breaking the law because they can't find legal workers. And they're not going to turn work away. What do you want them to do? Oh, just pay more money. We literally have 5 million more jobs open than we have people looking for work. And the reality is people look like me and older are retiring. They're not working anymore. Doesn't matter what you pay them. They're not working anymore. And yes, there are some young people not working because they remember, yeah, blah, 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 blah. That's not going to fix the crisis that we have. We in America, under Biden, have created so many flipping jobs that we can't fill them. We physically can't fill them. And we're short immigrants. We're short immigrants. Now, those that do come and apply for asylum, they get a work permit. Los que vienen pueden aplicar por poner su aplicación de asilo rapidito, pueden aplicar por su permiso de trabajo, van a tener trabajos. There's going to be work. So I'm just saying, that's the way it should be. Marsha, si una persona compró, podría ayudar a alguien en su proceso de arreglar sus papeles. Una persona compró. No sé qué quieres decir, Marsha, tiene que ser más claro. Compro una franquicia, podría ayudar en su proceso. Sí, alguien que es legal en el país, con visa legal, con residente ciudadano, puede pedir de los 4 países nombrados, Nicaragua, Haití, Colombia, Venezuela y Nicaragua. Ojalá eso está ampliado. So, somebody who's legally in the country, whether they have a legal visa, like an E2 as a franchise owner, or they're a resident or citizen, you can sponsor people from one of these 4 countries, and that probably will grow. Buenos tardes, abogado. Una pregunta, ¿qué tan malo es viajar de vacaciones en Florida? Oh, excelente. Ernesto wants to know, how terrible is it to go on vacation to Florida? That's a great question. Yo no iría a Florida, pero yo tengo que ir. Hay una reunión anual de la Asociación de Abogados planeado hace 7 años en Florida en junio. Mira, el asunto que es mucho de esta ley es inconstitucional y no van a poder enforzarlo. Pero ¿por qué gastaría su dinero extra en un estado que quiere dañar? Why would you spend your free money, your money that you have for pleasure, in a state that hates you? Why would you do that? Hay mucha gente moviendo a Georgia. They're maybe moving to Georgia from Florida. We'll be seeing maybe 100,000 people relocate to Georgia from Florida. It's really one of the dumbest laws. It's one of the biggest self-owners, but DeSantis is a big self-owner. That guy is not nearly as smart or as savvy as people think he is. He's kind of an idiot, actually. And there's about to have some really bad stuff come out about this guy, by the way, so pay attention. Pero Ernesto, yo no iría. Vete a Savannah, es mucho más lindo. Go to Savannah, it's nicer. What can the administration do to solve this problem? What problem, Omar? I mean, the border? All they can do is what they're doing. Try to make it harder to get asylum, which is probably illegal. Send more people to interview, have more Border Patrol agents, but deport people faster so the message gets back you're being deported. I mean, it's terrible to say, but that's the message that you have to send, really. That's the message you have to send. So what is that? There you go. That's what you got to do. I just don't know what they're going to do. DV 2021, PSP, 4 times. Go, still pending. I don't know. I have nothing at this point. My prediction was wrong. I was certain within 6 months. I was wrong. I have had appeals take this long. I didn't expect this one to take this long. As we've talked about in our impact stuff, this suggests a real struggle between the judges. We know one judge was for us, one judge was against us. They're both trying to convince that middle judge, and maybe that middle judge is trying to write something that splits the baby. I don't know. You look different today. Well, thank you, because I'm casual. I don't have my white shirt on. I'm not in my office. I'm in my new studio here at our firm, and we're in the process of fixing. We got to put more Is it echoey? Tell me if it's echoey. I don't know if it's echoey. I can't tell if it's echoey. Let's see. Is it echoey? I can't tell. I'm not getting anything there. If it's echoey, put it there. Chuck, it's very echoey. I need to know. Will preferences and courses get invitation interview or cancel? Keep in mind, the DV 2020 numbers are for those people, presumably with the lowest numbers, and that were ready. So, but I don't know. I mean, the Department of State does not disclose how they're going to do it if they lose. Si no me pago una compañía en cuanto me lo trabajo. Ya. De hecho, Carolina, si eres indocumentado, Biden tiene un plan para ti. Biden tiene un proceso nuevo para darte un permiso de trabajo. Y tal vez una visa T. Tú debes llamar a la oficina y, por supuesto, todos saben cómo llamo a la oficina, just que es el número que puede llamar. Por supuesto. Call today. If your employer has cheated you out of money, the Biden administration is ready to give you a work permit, and maybe you can get a T visa as a person who's trafficked for labor. So call for a consult. That's what you need to do. That's how that works. Let's see. Natalie, good to see you. No questions today. Yes, I'm glad you heard that. Natalie, is it echoing? Tell me if it's echoing. It's echoing some when compared. Yeah, it's because it's a different microphone, and it's a big room, and we need to get more foam on the walls. Let's see. Maricela, my husband and I live in Florida. He's the parents in Georgia. My husband prosecuting your girl when you're in. Well, where is he in the process, Maricela? Are you like doing a 601A waiver? Are you doing a DACA-based adjustment? If it's an adjustment, then stay in Georgia. If it's a 601A waiver, maybe you want to live in Georgia. Stay in Florida if you're adjusting. Move here if you're not. That's my opinion. Josh Esteban, do you believe that the laws DeSantis is passing were for the border law? DeSantis' laws have no effect on anything other than reducing the income of Floridians and making life harder and increasing the employment rate. There are going to be too many jobs open and not enough people there. It is a stupid law. Anybody with a brain realizes what a stupid law this is. DeSantis is not going to be governor in 3.5 more years. And the next governor is going to come in and they're going to fix all this crap. It wasn't long ago that Florida was the leader with Republican governors, including Rick Scott, by the way, of helping people that were undocumented, giving driver's license, letting DACA kids who are lawyers practice law there. They're doing it. He's doing this because he wants to out MAGA. And he can't. He's ultimately an amateur. Nobody really likes this guy. That's what nobody's talking about. Nobody likes DeSantis. He's just not a likable guy. And so he's not never going to be president. He's not. He's just not. 601A, Marisola, está pendiente la litigación. Estamos esperando la decisión del juez por la certificación de clase y también por la moción de cancelar el caso. So we're still waiting on the judge for the class certification and whether the judge is going to dismiss the case. She's not going to dismiss this case. We won't just refile it. There's no reason to dismiss this case. So we're good. Just keep the faith. This is how litigation works. Got to push along. So it looks like I found a job in Canada. I won't get there, but it'll be a big. Joe, awesome. Totally awesome for you. After you become a Canadian citizen, get a TN and come on down. It'd be great to have you down here. All right. So by next week, this should be better. We should have less echo in here. And I'm kind of excited about this. I think this is going to be totally awesome. A totally awesome way to do it. Until next week. Oh, one more couple of questions. What if someone was brought with workers that were not getting paid? Wilmer, that's a T visa. We can get them a green card. Have them call. You know how to make us. Wilmer, you know this. Come on. You're an expert after watching so many of my videos. You need to have them make an appointment. Or they can make an appointment por inmigracion.net. Tú sabes esto. Anju Nino. My wife got an RFE letter that's asking for how she entered the last time. Does any measures good for her military parole praise? She has 2 EWIs. Well, if she has 2 EWIs, she can't use parole in place to get a green card. If one of those was after 1996, Anju, who's doing this? You can still get parole in place and get the EAD, but she can't use that to adjust status if she's got 2 entries. Our T visas, no, T visas are not nearly as bad. They're a little backlogged, but like a year or 2. And they're going to get more backlogged. We're going to become aware of this now. They see, Natalie, you did ask a question. Always learn something here, don't you? You need to watch my Facebook page and Twitter, by the way, because I posted some of the news stories that we've done the last couple of days. Okay, Anju, there we go. You're welcome. All right, it's now about 1/2 the hour. It's been about a good 30 minutes. That's good enough for today. I'll be back next week at 1 o'clock here on Facebook Live. And we'll also see you on Tuesday for our impact litigation. Marcia, you got in before the note. ¿Por cuánto tiempo los DACA puede salir del país? ¿Por cuánto tiempo quiere salir? How long do you want to leave on advance parole for DACA? Alguna gente lo advance parole por 1 año. Si está haciendo study abroad, 1 año, 8 meses, 2 meses. Tú decides. Explain it to the government why you need to go for a certain period of time. And it says, what age can you assist your spouse? As soon as you're legally married. A legally married spouse can, if you get married at 18, you sponsor your spouse. If you get married at 17, you can legally sponsor your spouse. You don't have to be 18 to sponsor your spouse. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. I think they did a pretty good job here. You know, it's got. You know, if I go over far enough, you only see my name. You don't see Dustin's name. I love my partner. He's so totally awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Again, Chuck Cook. If you want to reach us, inmigracion.net. If you want to call for an appointment, here it is. And I am me. We'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody.